Namaskar. Welcome back to the Gita ODC class. Avanti had covered the Shloka 20 in the last class, and I believe that she also touched the three bodies. These shlokas are very important because it is going to show us the highest destination, or what exactly is that final destination, not the immediate progress. Let's not assume that tomorrow we are going to be like this. But for any journey, it is better to understand what exactly is my final destination. And then Krishna is going to take you step by step, one by one, to that final destination. This is the process of the Gita. So what we were discussing was the nature of the Atma. The moment you say Atma, you think that as something mystical. But Atma is nothing mystical. Atma is you. That's it. Me. Atma means, literal meaning of Atma is myself. That's it. So we are trying to understand what exactly is the full depth and breadth of me. Because Vedanta tells you that you know yourself, but you don't know yourself completely. You know yourself only little bit. And because of that small identity we assume, the lot of problems appears to be big problems. If I'm too small, a small object appears to be too big for me. But if I grow bigger than the problems, what is going to happen? The problems are not going to go away. The problems are going to be there, but the problems appears to be very small in front of me. This is the approach of Gita. Krishna is not saying that tomorrow onwards there won't be any health issues or wealth issues or family issues, but you will be able to deal with that. Let's make that point very clear. So in that process, you need to understand, at least theoretically, for the time being, that there is a bigger dimension for me. And what is, if I know that bigger dimension of myself completely, I can transcend all the problems I face on a day-to-day basis. This is the message of Gita. Let's not think about Atma as something very mystical, which is far away removed from me. It is myself, but at this point of time, I'm not able to grasp, I'm not able to experience that full dimension of myself. And that is where the Swapna Drishtanta comes again and again in the example of Shankaracharya. So in the Swapna, you have an identity about yourself, and that is a true identity with respect to that team, the dream. But the fact of the matter is that you have an identity beyond that dream, much bigger than that dream, which transcends all the dream, beyond the dream. So, is the problems in the dreams real to you? Absolutely. They are real to you when you are in the dream space and in the dream time. Yes, if I am in front of a tiger in the dream, I need to deal with that. I cannot say that beyond the dream there is an existence of me. That's not the point here. The point here is understanding that larger dimension is going to help me to navigate the problems smoothly. So what is that dimension? Krishna is saying that there are your true self, it's much bigger or larger than you think. There are different points we said, right? That is the absolute existence. Everything in this universe is existing because of one true existence, and that existence is yourself. Right? So that is Atma Satyaha. Then Atma Nityaha. This was never born, and this is going to be never dying. Yes, this body is born, but my identity is beyond the body. My identity is beyond the mind. Then Atma Satyaha, Atma Nityaha, Atma Sarvagataha. Everything in this universe is pervaded by that one Atma. And there is only one Atma. You may see billions of people, but there is only one Atma. We spent a lot of time on this particular topic earlier. Why? We said in the dream, there are millions of people. But you know for sure, I don't have to tell you, you're 100% convinced. It's like 1 + 1. You're 100% convinced that how many millions or billions of trillions of people in that dream, it's you. Not the you in the dream dimension, but the transcendental you beyond the dream is the same Atma for everyone. So like that, when I look around, I am different from you. The world is different from me. Everything else is different. But in the transcendental sense, the true existence of myself and yourself is one and only one, and that pervades everywhere. So Atma Satyaha, Atma Nityaha, Atma Sarvagataha, Atma Avyaha. Atma doesn't change, because sometimes what happens when you say that it doesn't born and die, but it can change. Look at yourself as your current identity. When you were born, you were totally different. 10 years back, you were totally different. And from 10 years now, you will be totally different. Dehinosmin deta dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tadha dehandara prapthir. So just like the dream, the body goes through different changes, Atma is not. Atma doesn't go through any change. So Atma avyayaha. So these were some of the points we have seen. Atma is not an agent of the action, object of the action. This is the summary of the different dimensions of Atma. Let me pause here and tell you, if you go to any Upanishads, whether it is Katha Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, any Upanishad, this is exactly the subject matter. Nothing more than this. So this portion of the Gita is a summary of the highest truth mentioned in any Upanishads. So we are going to continue a few more shlokas up to Shloka 25. This is the topic. So quickly we will touch Shloka 20 just for the recording sake, and then we will go to 21. So let's go. Shloka 20. Let's listen to the chanting.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Very interesting shloka. I'm sure Avanti had gone through this in detail, so I'm just repeating for the sake of recording. Otherwise, that shloka will be unbroken. So this Atma, the true self or the complete self of yourself, is na jayate. It is never born. Na mriyate. It will never die. So if you put that rule, it's a repetition. Okay, this whole thing has been already said. This is just a repetition. It's a almost 99.99% copy of a Katha Upanishad mantra. Exactly, Krishna lifted and copied it here. That's it. Multiple purposes. One is Krishna wanted to show that I'm not teaching something new. I'm teaching only the same truth declared by the ancient rishis. And if Krishna teaches something which is contrary to Upanishad, what is our rule of thumb? If something contradicting Upanishad, you have to reject the other teaching and follow the Upanishad. So Krishna wanted to reconcile his teaching to the Upanishads. So that's why 2-3 shlokas he just lift and put it here. So najayate, namriyate, kadachin. Kadachin means like never, ever. And what is that? Nayam bhuktva bhavita va na bhuyaha. Having existed, once comes into existence, it never ceases to exist. It is not born, it is not dying, it never ceases to exist. And then the second line is the core. Ajaha. Ajaha means what? Ja means born. Aja means never born. That's it. Aja. It's a famous name. You know, there is a famous king in our Purāṇa whose name is Aja. Who is Rama's father? Dasharatha. And who is the father of Dasharatha? Ajaha. Aja. That is his name. Just out of curiosity, who is his father? Raghu. Right? That is why the whole Rama lineage came as Raghuvamsha.
And his father is Prithu.
No, his father is Dilipa. Dilipa. So Dilipa, Raghu, from Raghu Aja, Aja Dasharatha, Rama Lava. Just out of intellect curiosity, those who are interested, there is a beautiful composition by Kalidasa called Raghuvamsha. So that book gives all these nice lineage and beautiful story. Okay. So Ajaha Nityaha. Nityaha means what? It's ever existing. Sāśvataha. Sāśvataha, it's the same meaning. It's there, always. Nashwara, Sāśvata. Nashwara means impermanent. Sāśvataha means permanent. Then, Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire. The true self in yourself, your true identity, never get destroyed when the body gets destroyed. That's it. What does that mean? You are not the body, because if your body, you had a birth, you had a growth, you had a decay, and you have a death. So what is getting born, growing, decaying, changing, dying is not you. You are beyond that. And what exactly is you? That which is not born, permanent, non-changing, truth. So he's summing up whatever he has discussed so far. So from now to 25, it's just that. And obviously he's going to talk about the reincarnation in one shloka. But that is the essence of this shloka. A few more quick points. One is Atma is, nature of the Atma is indicated through a few more pointers. One is unborn. Atma is not created at birth, and it does not end with death. It exists eternally, independent of the body. That is the key point. This is where the modern science and Vedanta contradicted for a long time, because modern science thought that the consciousness is an intrinsic property of the body. This was the belief up until now. Now that belief is getting challenged by the science itself. So if you Google the hard problem of consciousness, this is exactly what they are moving towards. Very interestingly, a professor here in Colombia, he's the one who came up with this idea, and that is getting momentum. Because there are so many things cannot be explained by the conventional belief of consciousness. And now if you really look at almost all the major universities here, you see a consciousness studies. So this is getting really, really attention now. Then what? Eternal. The word used is Nitya. Anitya is different, and Nitya means eternal. So Atma, the whole idea is it persists beyond time, right? The ocean remains while the waves rise and falls. See, the wave has a beginning, it has a growth, it has a decay, it has a death, but the water or the ocean remains completely same. Next indicator used is Sāśvata. So Sāśvata means like Nashwara. Nashwara means typically the bodies goes through sixfold modification. We talked about Asti, Jayate, Varthate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate, Vinashyati. So this Atma doesn't change. And then the last word I forgot to mention, it is Purāṇa. That is the term used. Purāṇa means most ancient but still fresh. Puratane Navaiti. That is the word of Purāṇa, the meaning of Purāṇa. Purāṇa literally means ancient but yet fresh. I think some famous thinker has described India as Purāṇa. It's very ancient, but it's still fresh. Even the population, if you take the age, it is very young. So that Purāṇa is meaning that which is extremely old, extremely ancient, but it is relevant. Gita itself is, from that definition, it is Purāṇa. Obviously, there are 18 Puranas and 18 Upapurana, that is different. But here, it is referring as Atma because it was there from time immemorial, but still it is relevant, it is active. This is the few key points. And then, obviously, the shloka also touches about Atma versus body because na hanyate hanyamane sharire. When the body is destroyed, the Atma is not destroyed. Then the whole idea of telling this is freedom from misidentification. So that is the whole idea. And practical implications, we already talked about this. We said it is by knowing this Atma, you are not going to get away from all the problems I have been dealing with in this world, but I become bigger than all the problems. When I become bigger than the problems I should be able to manage easily. That is the whole idea. Again, nobody is expecting that you will have this realization of that Atma tomorrow, but this is the goal. And even knowing that there existed larger dimension for me, that itself gives that much consolation. Trayate mahato bhaya, like in other shloka Krishna tells, this knowledge, even little bit of this knowledge, free you from all the fears and anxieties and worries. Avanti, you want to add anything?
Yeah, namaskar. What I wanted to add was, like he said, Rajeshji said, that it's not possible at this stage to hook into that idea that, yes, I'm Atma and nothing else. But what I would implore you to just consistently think about whenever you're free of time is believe in two things. One thing is the continuity, which Gita will continue to insist over and over and over again. So believe on the continuity of something. You might say, no, maybe there's no life, but just think, bring up these things that where did I come from? Why do I have such particular likes, dislikes? Why do I have these particular people in my life and not those? Why are these circumstances, coming around me in whichever way they are? It cannot be random. There are people who believe, they say it's all random. But if the sun rises from the east every single day at the appointed time and sets in the west every single day at the appointed time, how can human life be random? And everything else that's going on in the world. So believe, first of all, in the even if you don't believe that you are Atma at this stage, which is hard to believe, because every time we say this, students come back, is that, look at my life, it's such a mess. Where the sun is rising from the east and setting in the west, my sun is rising from the north and setting in the south. How can I be Atma? So it's impossible. Believe in the continuity. There is something. What that continuity will dawn upon you as you go deeper and deeper into your studies. And more importantly, when you get deeper into the studies in relation to how your life is unfolding. And second thing I really want you all to believe in is the power that defies every now and then, the power within you that defies your mortal constraints. The best example I can give is of a mother. I've been a mother, and I've been a mother in the US and in Australia where there's no help available. It's impossible. You don't have a sick day. Even in your worst sick days, you get up defying high fevers, whatever, and you look after the child who needs that looking after more than you need to sit and cry at the end. Last week, I told you all about that 45 kg woman who lifted a truck in India because her child was about to be crushed. I've talked about Olympic athletes who, when they're at it, there is some other power that breaks through because all the other senses have been quietened down and performs feats that are impossible to imagine. And however non-consequential or non-dramatic your life has been, there have to have been instances where everything settled and some other power, which we so loosely call grace, has shone through and made you do something that was beyond your own understanding. That Atma is you. That continuity is you. That power is you. There are 4 basic aphorisms in Vedanta. One is Prajnanam Brahma, all this is Atma. Second is the declaration, which the Bhagavad Gita is about. Tattvam asi, that you are. 6 chapters will explain how. The third one is I am Atma Brahma, and finally is Aham Brahmasmi. So many gurus, teachers, and even many students, seekers, they find it blasphemy to say that Aham Brahmasmi directly, because we have this image of the purity, the all, expanding consciousness of God. It is hard to say that we, with all our foibles and follies, are that Atma, that God, which is fine. We don't encourage that either. But there is that practice statement. It's called a practice statement. Aphorism number 3, I am Atma Brahman, which essentially means that same Atma. Sanjay had asked this question many classes ago, about pot space and the all space. What is the difference? My Atma and all-encompassing Atma. Just that same Atma which whirls these worlds around, that fragment is within me. Same amount as is within you. That same power is within me. If we just rest in that and we allow that power to grow and grow and grow over what we are allowing to grow right now, our body, our mind, our intellect, and all their problems, you'll start seeing a much bigger difference in your life. You'll just start seeing that what is obstructing you is no circumstances from outside. It is you yourself, because you're hooked onto that, which does not have that much power as compared to that power that we are talking about in these verses. And finally, what I'd like to say over here is that a reassurance that problems will not end. Even for the most realized, somebody like Ramakrishna had a mortal problem that any of us would have succumbed to the day we found out. Problems in the mortal world will not end. They have nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with the truth and realization that you are Atma. They will continue. Again and again, I bring this up again, but you need to get this into your head. Swayam Narayana Bhagwan was standing next to Arjuna, and he had to watch his son being hacked to pieces in the Chakravyuha. Did his problem disappear because Bhagwan was standing next to him? But in what solidarity he was able to go through that and truly in that moment understand what these verses are saying. Nobody is killed. Abhimanyu is not killed. Nobody has killed him. Lawfully or unlawfully, something goes on. He was able to understand it in that moment and go ahead to the next. So that is a very keen understanding that we have to have. We do not have Swayam Krishna standing next to us. Actually, we do. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is his word. Every other verse is Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So you have the Gita, you have the Bhagavan standing next to you. Just keep listening to that. So no matter what problems there are, which will not stop. There was one very famous Punjabi saint, I forget his name, who said, Bhagwan suli ka sui bana deta hai. Yani, that problem may be big, but when you have this knowledge with you, when you have this knowledge constantly talking to you in your head, that which seems like an insurmountable mountain becomes a molehill. Think about it. When you look at your life and you look back, you just say, oh my God, I actually went through that phase. Oh my God, I actually went through that. But it all passes. I mean, Sanjay is here. Sanjay, sorry for using you as an example, but the way you went through your whole father's episode, I used to be in tears, the way you used to explain the things that were happening for somebody who was completely healthy and, no idea of any of it. But when you look at that, it seemed insurmountable at that moment. When you look back now, you must be saying, how did I even go through it? How did I ever come to this point? So this is what these verses are trying to tell you. It goes on. Like Raj Kapoor famously said, the show must go on. The show goes on, and how steadily we stand is only going to be determined by how much credit we are giving to this impermanence and how much we are investing in that permanence. So just keep studying, keep repeating, I am Atma Brahma, I am Atma Brahma, I am Atma Brahma, until Aham Brahmasmi doesn't feel like blasphemy. Blasphemy feels like your own truth.
Okay. You want to give the reflective prompt?
So the reflective prompt of 20, verse 20 is, reflect on the ways you relate to changes and transitions in your life. How might your perspective shift if you identified yourself with Atma, unchanging and eternal? Please, again and again, we are begging you, please write the answers. We've given space to write also, albeit in 2-3 lines. Just answer these questions, because that's how the knowledge will embed. And the quote is, beyond the hands of time, Atma is the essence of all that is and all that will be.
So we will go to the next shloka. Sorry for that repetition, but we just wanted to get that.
Veda vinashinam nityam yayenamajamau vyayam katham sapurushav partha kam ghatayati hantikam.
Another shloka. There is nothing new. Everything is already explained. This is just wrapping up the same idea. Again, the nature of Atma. The whole idea is, he is trying to say that Atma is beyond birth, beyond death. So the word uses here is Veda. Veda has many meaning. You think it is a scripture, but the root of the Veda is the verb called vid. Vid means to know. So Veda means here he who knows, who understands. That is, so he who understands that Atma is avinash, meaning avinashinam. Ya yenam, yenam here Atma. He who understands this Atma as indestructible, nityam. So Veda avinashinam nityam. Nityam means eternal. So the one who understands the Atma in its full scope knows that Atma is ajaha, nityaha, Sāśvataha, nahanyate hanyamane sharine. So that means it is avinashi, indestructible, and it is eternal. Ajam. So Veda vinashinam nityam, yayenam ajam avyayam. Ajam means unborn, and avyayam means unchanging. Exact same words used in the previous shloka. And that person, katham sapurusha partha, that person, kam khatayati hantikam. He is not getting killed, or he is not killing anyone. He is not an agent of the action. He is not an object of the action. Again, appears to be very complicated, but think about that. We are talking, always keep these 2 points in mind. Whenever Krishna talks about Atma, he is talking from a transcendental perspective. And when he talks about the body and killing and the fighting and everything, or acting or reacting, that is in the immanent space. So the Atma is in the transcendental space and the world is in the immanent space. So in the world, everything get born, everything get changed, everything get destroyed. There is agency, there is objectivity, everything. Subjectivity, objectivity, everything. But in the transcendental space, there is nothing is born, nothing is dying, nothing is changing. So you need to understand. So if you try to see that in the immanent space, it may not work. So in the dream world, you know that things will happen, meaning, let's say that even if your body get destroyed in the dream, that is not going to affect you. So dream is the immanent space, whereas the waking space is the transcendental state when you are in the dream. So like now, when you are in this waking state or in the world is an immanent space. Immanent, the definition is beautiful. Like, even though usually it is very difficult to reconcile with the Western and the Eastern terminologies or the metaphysical thoughts, this particular thoughts aligns very well. Transcendental versus immanent. Immanent means that which you can directly touch, experience, and everything, which can be perceived by your sense organs. The world of name and forms, that is immanent. Whereas transcendental is beyond this. So the one who sees Atma as transcendental, he is not doing anything or he is not getting anything. Killing here means because he is in a warfare. What is the action there? It is the fight. So he is not getting killed or he is not killing anyone. Shankaracharya, in this commentary, he tells, don't try to excuse the actions you perform in the immanent world by quoting this verse. See, suppose you kill somebody and go to the court and tell the judge that kam khadayati handikam. The judge also will tell you, I am going to give you capital punishment, kam khadayati handikam. That's it. So immanent space, there is law, there is agency, there is objectivity, there is subjectivity, everything is there. So that is not the point here. The point is that you have an existence beyond this. So people are very good in interpreting this in the most negative sense. So that's why this clarity is added. A few more points before I hand over to Avanti. So in this shloka, so see, the thing is that Krishna wants us to pivot our understanding on the true Atma. And the two steps Shankaracharya again calls in his commentary is, first of all, you have an identification about yourself. Let's say that in a dream, you have so much problem. There is an epidemic going on. You have health issues. You have family issues, everything. Yeah, you can get a doctor and try to cure yourself. That's a temporary fix. You can get some money in the dream, try to do some work. All that is needed, they are temporary fixes. What is that one thing that can transcend all your problem in the dream? If you become aware that it is a dream in the dream, what we call it as lucid dream. If that becomes a lucid dream, imagine your state of mind. Still you may run around for doctor, still you may run around for money and everything, but you know that you can handle this. So that is the point. So even you may not need to experience this, but knowing that there is a continuity to my existence, that itself will save you from a lot of fear, and it will help you to operate freely rather than like tensed, stressed, and anxious. So even this knowledge, in a theoretical sense, it can give you a lot of consolation and support. Let me pass to Avanti. There is nothing more to add here. It's a kind of same thing we have been talking.
So Gita will be repetitive. But remember, Krishna says, I will give you jnana and vijnanam. And we've always understood that we can only get jnana from the books, from the teacher, however, evolved the person is. Vijnanam, we have to churn from within. But why does Krishna say later on that I will give you Jnanam and Vijnanam? Because he repeats so many times that it is impossible, if you've really studied the Bhagavad Gita, by the end of it, you do not have the wisdom to act accordingly. So that's why I don't frown at the repetitions, welcome them. They'll always be told with a new angle, so that in some way or the other, it goes in through colors, through form, through dance, through song, however we try to explain these things to you, which we will soon on social media. The point is that this has to go within one way or another. To remember this verse, no, I'll tell you all a story from Shakespeare. We are trying to bring in all the, European literature, and also because they kind of, they've derived all their inspiration from the Upanishads. We've already seen in 2 verses ago that they've derived the inspiration from the Upanishads, from the Gita, and from all these places. So when they do their plays, when they do their poetry, there's a lot of this resonance. Now, when we talk about this particular verse, he's clearly saying, once you understand this, how can anybody slay anyone, and how can anybody be slain? So many times you all must have heard many teachers bring in that analogy of an actor. That we are just actors on the stage. We are actually Atma. In this particular lifetime, we have to go through some acts. We have to do some things. That karma dharma comes in later on. But we do our role and we exit. Actually, we have nothing more to do over here. In chapter 6, whatever we are trying to be, sannyasi and yogi, chapter 6 begins with Krishna. Thing. Anarshita karma phalam karyam karma karoti ya sannyasi sa yogi cha. He says yogi and sannyasi is not somebody in robes with long malas and long beards and all that. Karyam karma karoti yaha. He who does what he has to do. And that person is the yogi, is a sannyasi. So that's what we are, just actors on the stage. We come in, we do what we have to do, and we get out. So there's this very famous play of Othello, called Othello. I don't know if any of you all have read it. You all should try and at least get a gist of it. It's very, it'll resonate a lot with these Upanishad teachings that we are going through. So in Othello, there is this person called Iago, who's a senior minister, very jealous. And he psychs Othello that his wife Desdemona is having an affair with some person called Cassio. And Othello was the king. And Desdemona is Shakespeare's absolutely most beautifully portrayed woman, as far as Sarva Guna Sampanna, as we say in the Indian language. She had it all. She didn't flaw. She didn't make any mistakes in her life. And she was the most devoted wife. But just because of this irritating thing that Iago had told him, he starts believing that his wife is infidel. And the scene goes up to, in the end, he murders her. She is as pure as Sita. You could actually Sita, you can, relate to her to, as the way Shakespeare has explained. He kills her. Now, what happened was, you can look it up, in the early 1900s, I think, or middle 1900s, I don't remember when exactly, Othello had come to India as a play. It had come to Calcutta. It had come around India. It had come especially to Calcutta. And over there, this play was being performed by phenomenal actor and phenomenal actress and all that stuff. And people were applauding. It was going very well. At the crescendo, at the climax, that death scene where Othello kills Desdemona, what an act it was. Everybody was in tears. Everybody was standing up. There was a loud applause. The actor was carried away. Everything was phenomenal. And once the applause died, guess what? What was left? That actor got so carried away by the applause, he actually killed the actress. He actually killed that actress on stage. He didn't realize. Did he hate her? They were best of friends. This is what is happening to us, is that we get so carried away by the play that we actually get into this situation where we take it for real. He thought this whole play was real and he actually went and murdered. What happened after that? He was given, like Rajeshji said, there's no forgiveness, and there's really no forgiveness. Parikshit, how he was punished, just for that snake being put onto that sage's thing. He had to die in 7 days. Even Pandu, by mistake, he killed the deer and he had to suffer the consequences. So there's no forgiveness. Karma doesn't miss a door. But this person was eventually, he was not given the death sentence because he did it in delusion. He got so carried away by the play that he actually went and murdered that woman. So his license was taken away. He was never able to act again, and he was given some fine or whatever, and it was all sorted out amongst them. But this is what happens to us. We don't understand this is a one lifetime play that we just have to perform perfectly. Accept what's coming, enjoy what's coming, just do what we are supposed to do in a way that we eradicate karma, not add to karma. But we get so caught up like this actor, we actually go on to create more karma from the karma that we are trying to get rid of. And that is what these verses are consistently telling us. It's a short phase. It's just going to go by in a flash. Stick on to the fact that you are Atma. The only thing that is keeping you between you and your godhood, between you and that realization, is all this karma, is all these vasanas. Eradicate them. Don't exasperate them. The more and more you exasperate them, the more and more you're going to be caught doing horrific karmas for no rhyme or reason. And it's all happening because there is no cognizance of this continuity of the Atma. Forget the Atma, even the continuity of your mind and your intellect. How easily we just do whatever we do, we say whatever we say, not understanding that it's going to come back to bite us. So even if you don't want to hook onto the continuity of Atma, hook onto the continuity, it's not going anywhere. Parikshit had to pay, one of the greatest kings. Pandu had to pay. Innocent person, not really getting into anybody's thing. Who are we? We will have to pay. So this is what keeps reminding us, do what you have to do rightly, correctly, so that the next chapters unfold in a way that is taking you closer to the self, not further away from it.
Excellent. Okay, so just an example. Imagine somebody is dreaming. In the dream, you are giving a class. You are the teacher. So many people are the recipients of the knowledge. You are giving that knowledge. You are the agent. And there are so many people in the dream who are recipient. But in the transcendent state, kam khadayati hantikam. Who is the giver? Who is the receiver? Everything is one. That's it. So know your true identity, Atma, eternal, indestructible, and immutable. But know that that's a transcendental state. So this is very important. Then act in the world fully, but with the inner conviction that I'm not the doer, because I'm only acting here. This inner stance cultivate peace, detachment, fearless living. This is the goal of the Gita. A self-realized master also will have to go through all the challenges. But what is the difference between you and me and him or her? They will be able to understand it, face it nicely, and we will not. Because we are smaller than the problem, they have grown up much bigger than the problem. So with this, let's see the quote reflection. Sorry, Avanti, if you don't mind, can you give the reflection and the quote?
So the reflection is, if you genuinely began to believe that you were neither the instigator of actions nor the receiver of the results of those actions, how might this transform your interactions with objects and beings of this world? So I hope you'll have understood it, that if you all started understanding that if, again, a big capital F, because Guru's question came last week, right? What if a terrorist says, I'm not the doer, I've killed, they are not killed. So you have to be more and more aligned to this thing that I am the Atma. That Atma is not doing, it's not receiving anything. Please do understand the body, the mind, and the intellect does, and it will receive its due karma. So if you are aligned to the Atma and you consistently say, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I am the eternal Atma. If you start believing that, if you start investing in that thought, if you start aligning to that thought, how then would you interact in this world? Would there be that desperation, I have to get something out of this? Somebody has said something to you. Would you have to say, I have to get back to that person? I have to avenge this. I have to get this by this date. Or would there be a chilling nature around it? It doesn't mean that you don't get what you want to get. You get it, but that the desperation is what eludes it further. That's the funny part of it. Ramatirtha very famously says, to gain anything, lose it. Very famous statement of his. So we can only dare to lose something when we understand we don't own anything. Everything is on lease. We may own all these buildings and apartments and whatever else, but when we die, it goes back. Nothing we can take with us. So when you align with that, how would you start interacting? Would there be less anxiety, less angst with your interactions? And the quote says, beyond the fleeting roles, I am the eternal whole. So never forget that you are Shah Rukh Khan just acting in Dil Wale Dulhania Le Jayenge for that moment. You're not that Raj in that movie. You're not. So you're not Arnav, whoever I can see over here. You're not Rohit ji, you're not Gokul, you're none of that. You are that Atma. This is just a role, karmically defined role that we have to play. Play it well so that you're not exasperating what is not working in this role.
Okay, we'll do the prayer and stop the recording and take a few questions.